What's up, my good people? I'm starting on bag one, which is the head, as you can see. Of course, I just wanted to point out a couple things I thought was awesome. First of all, the head came assembled and everything feels glass smooth. The metal used on the blade grips is a high grade metal. It feels like it's not a cheap kit or cheap materials were used. I do like the design of the head, how this bearing is flanged here on the outside of the bearing. Never seen that before. Maybe it's been done before. I hadn't seen it. Here's your regular thrust bearing set up here with your shim in between the outside radial bearing. Only thing is, the manual, it looks okay, but I would personally like for some of these Chinese companies that come out with these helis to have a Chinese only manual and a English version manual only. Only because a lot of this, I mean, obviously I can't read that. I'm not Chinese, but shouts out to people who are bilingual and can read both. But it gets a little confusing. It just jumbles up the manual layout. So, and then you have the steam in the background. It's just a bit much. It's just cumbersome on the eyes. If you're taking your time building it and you're gonna do it over hours and hours and not break it up over days, it's just a lot of stuff for your eyeballs to try to navigate. I'm gonna take the head apart and then I'm gonna assemble it. So I'll let you know when this is done, but it looks pretty straightforward. Quick note here, these head dampers, they come pre-installed with grease. However, I can't just leave a stone unturned when assembling a kit. So I did want to tell you, be careful because these are really hard to get out. Even though they're greased, they're in there really, really good. And they set in there pretty deep. So like right there. And it was a little situation trying to get them out. So just want to let you know, when you getting this thing out, try to use one of these tools to kind of help you grip the head spindle, head axle, and just kind of work it back and forth a little bit. Don't, go in there and deform the inside of this damper. That might affect flight later on down the road. Just wanted to give you a heads up on this. So if it's hard to get out, don't be surprised. Mine was as well. Okay, so this outer piece here is almost like a sleeve. And there's a little cup here. Make sure you put the grease in here. Also, you want to make sure there's some grease in here and over this damper as well. Also, pay attention to this washer here. There's a lip here. This lip is to face towards the blade grip. Okay, that's easy to kind of, mix up if you're kind of rushing. I'm taking my time because I'm very new to this kit and I want to make sure every detail is right. I want it to get a fair shake when I do my Maiden. I don't want any weirdness happening in the head. The head is done. Both blade holders are very silky smooth. I did, per the instructions, I measured in between each blade grip and it was exactly the same on both sides. That is good news. That means they used some good parts and a mechanic put the head together perfectly. The head is complete, and just wanted to point this out. You get to pick the option. 31 is for, aggressive 3D, pro level, pirouetting, versing, tick-tocking, all kind of craziness. Or if you want a more docile sport flying experience, you want to go out to the 32.5. It talks about that in the manual, and I think that's a cool feature too, to be able to give you options of both on the actual part. I am on the head still, but I just wanted to mention this. The more that I'm putting pieces together, seeing how screws go into, threaded parts, and the quality of the hardware included in this kit for its price is pretty dang good. It's nothing about this is feeling cheap. Nothing about this is feeling inexpensive, but the price point on it is really awesome for a kit with blades. It's nice. So it's definitely an option for those guys who are just getting into 700s. So the next step is taking the swashplate apart and making sure all the screws and balls and everything are clean and Loctited. These things are cool. Now, I've seen these in other setups, of course, but never quite seen them this way in two-piece. Oh, also you get this cool little tool. I've seen this in other kits too, but this is cool. I've used these to do my links, ball links and stuff like that. However, this is what I'm talking about here. This insert goes into here, right? And then this cool labeled steam washer pops in here. And look, I don't know if it's a hassle to get a blade in here yet, but I just thought that was cool that there's a 2-piece insert here, and then you do it on the top and the bottom. I have it installed over here on the other side of the blade. So yeah, it's cool. I am moving along in the process here, but wanted to mention something to you in case you get all like, what's going on? So they have this picture here. I believe these two parts are in 2 different bags. I can't remember which one it is, but the dance between bag 3, bag 4, and bag 5 with these steps. When a modeler is building, the process must be easy, it must be fun, and it must be low stress. So when you're building a new heli and you don't know the brand, certain brands do things a certain way. But one thing I do like is if each step, the bag correlates with the step and you have all the parts in that one bag. Nothing is more frustrating than having to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bags to look for a piece that you're putting together, or a screw from here. You have to go to this bag. Make it simple. Keep it simple. Keep all those steps together in one bag. So when you finish that bag, you go on to the next bag. You finish that bag, you go on to the next bag, and so on and so forth. Listen, it's not that big of a deal to where it makes me not want to put the heli together, but at the same time, as I'm finding really cool things, I'm noticing this as well. So if you are going to purchase this kit and you're going to put it together, just keep that in mind that you're gonna have to do some bag surfing to get the parts that you need for each step as it moves forward. We are moving right along. I've got the upper frame, one side completed. The next step is actually adding the other side. However, I wanted to jump in here and kind of tell you about a hiccup I've came to. In this drawing here, it shows that this bottom piece, this is supposed to drop down into it. Now, this is the piece that they're referring to here and here. You can see. Pull this down. Oh, now it's there. So the bottom does not look the same. So I looked in the bag for this part. Maybe there was a metal part here I'm not seeing. I'm not sure, but I know that this is on here on the bottom. I tried to slide it into here, into this little piece here, and it went in. However, it doesn't fit, and there's not a hole here on the side where this side screw would go into the frame. So I'm thinking maybe it's a different, or they changed up the design of it or something. Just not really sure. It wasn't really clear to me what to do with this. And again, I checked through all the bags, didn't see this part here, like a metal part here. So, and maybe I'm not doing something right, not sure. I could be wrong. Again, this is a brand new kit, so I'm not really sure. And some of the instructions are not really straightforward. And that's why some other, manufacturers, they have the color paper manuals. You can see it a little bit better. I just got a little lost here. I'm sure it'll pop up again in some further steps maybe, and makes maybe a different angle. Something will help make sense of this and why this isn't dropping in here the way it's said it should. This is cool. Comes with the fly bar antenna mount. Starting to look like some frames are put together, huh? Yeah. I like branding. A lot of people don't like the brand name on the helicopter. They want it to be like low key. I like how they pop the steam in here and there with the little part numbers and stuff like that. That is super cool to me. I like that. It says, hey, we are Steam. We're on the scene. We're here. We're doing our thing. That rhymed. I didn't mean for it to rhyme, but it did. And I like that. Also, make sure if you're going to use this antenna mounting device, holder, make sure you put that on before you put this side frame on, because it is not easy to get to after. I didn't make that mistake, but I saw as I did it, I was like, oh man, if this thing was together and I wanted to put this thing on, it would be crazy. I mean, it's not a big deal. You could take all these screws out the top and then take it off and do it, but who wants to do that? Let's just save time. Let's be efficient. Nothing crazy yet. Nothing's been like, what is this? Nothing crazy yet. So it's going good so far. Make some progress here. We have the belt pulley. I don't know if it's a tensioner, but belt pulleys here. We've mounted these little brackets on the front. They have 2.5, I think it's 5mm screws going down the top. And you have to feed one in from the inside. That little space there, you can see the screw, the head of the screw. You can't just pass that through that hole. So you got to have some pliers to kind of guide it through the hole and then put the Allen wrench through there, tighten down. Main shaft is hollow. Looking up the shaft hole. All right. What I would recommend is when you're putting in these bearing blocks, top and bottom, leave the screws that mount them in the frames a little bit loose. So when you start to install your main shaft, you want your main shaft to go through with no problem. You just want it to be glass smooth. And that's the way I've set mine up so far. So just wanted to tell you that they line up pretty good. Not even really trying to, make them line up. They line up pretty good on their own. But for you new guys, just make sure you don't tighten down these screws all the way. Just get them in, thread it, but don't go ham and tighten them down until you got the main shaft in and everything seated square. When I'm building up the frames and tightening down all these screws, I like to just have it on a flat surface where there's no flex and no like back and forth. You just want to make sure everything gets a great chance of flying true and straight in the helicopter. This is cool. I like it because it's a matte finish on it. It's not gloss and it just looks cool. I like the idea of it. And also to the branding. Hey, Steam, we're here. We're making it happen. And part number. Cyclic servos go here. Pitch and aileron. And I'm sure this will come into play at some point and I will figure this out. Well, we've got the servo mount bolted down to the top bearing block. And it's time for servos. Yeah, baby. So we have the servos in the front of the frames, looking all cool and like, hey, let's get busy. So I'm gonna set that aside for now. And I'm working on the tail now. All right, we are on to the tail section. And I really like the way this tail is like a bottle cap. It's like, yeah, let's not overthink it. We'll make it nice and just abrupt. Like, I like that. I like that. It's really aggressive. I'm from the school of thought where I always make my thrust bearings the cup going in towards the yoke. In these instructions, it tells you that the concave should face towards the blade grip. So make sure those cups are facing towards the outside of the tail blade holder. Yeah, so everything went together pretty well. Also, this slider here, it's already glued. So I think they put green on it because I tried to tighten it, maybe take it apart and put some green on it or red. Man, it's not coming off. So I think we're good there. Okay, well, we got the tail done. Now your tail fin will not come, I put a yellow sticker on here because it matches the canopy. And since I don't have white skids, or white pipes, I should say, I'd like for my stuff to be able to pop a little bit. So just added that little yellow sticker on the tail fin to give me a little bit more visibility when I fly it. Quick note, this little collar here, where the runway is, was a bit of a challenge to get in this section here. It actually bolts the hub down to the main gear from the bottom, as you can see. However, it does not keep the gold washer here, or cap, whatever you want to call it. It's not a washer, but it kind of clamps down on top of the one-way housing, and then you have one down here as well. But it is not like fastened inside at all. So it slides off, the one-way drops out. It was a bit of a situation trying to get it in here. But if you hold the model a certain way, you can actually get the whole thing sandwiched in there pretty easy. But getting it started was a whole thing. So there's no up and down play at all. Belt is perfectly aligned. Everything seems to be awesome. Here we are with the motor mount. I like it, it's different. There's a bearing down here in the bottom of it. Also up here. And then there's this little collar that the set screws go into, as you can see here. And there's a little flat washer at the top of this whole assembly between that and the motor. This is awesome. You're like, what, man? Well, the ESC tray is threaded. So you don't have to, try to fumble with those nylon nuts on the backside. It's threaded in the actual tray. And it's threaded for the Hobbywing 260, so awesome. All right, I've got the skids together. Skids are very easy. It's cool because you go from the bottom to the top, and the little frame braces go on the molded piece on the top. Make sure you take this screw out and clean it and put red Loctite on it. I cannot tell you how many times I've had a battery come out, or after a few flights, this screw work out. This has been on other models, never on this particular model, but you never want to take it lightly. So make sure you do that. Any of these parts that go into keeping the battery in the model and not moving around, of course, is paramount. It is on skids. I've got the bottom frames on. What I do like about the landing gear is that the frames kind of drop into the molding of the skids. It just makes it easier to mount these on. It just kind of plops in and you just screw it in and it's all good. All right, so we've got the rudder servo in. We've got the elevator servo in, and it was pretty easy. Not sure what the instructions was talking about, what it was showing, but once you get the servo here in this, the pin guide here, it's pretty simple. Just bolt in from each side. All right, there is the battery tray. We've got a helicopter here. Everything is installed. Got our servos in, head is on, everything's in, bolted in and bolted on, as I should say. But everything came together really well. What's up? My name is Sean K of Heli Direct. As many of you know, we are now carrying the Steam line of helicopters. First off the line is the Steam 700. I've put this heli together. It was awesome. But if you go and look at my afterthoughts or my final thoughts on the build, go to our Heli Direct Heli Addiction Facebook group. There I explain all the ins and outs of it and what I thought about the build. Well, right now we're out here. I'm gonna do the first maiden flight. It's never been airborne. This is the very first maiden flight. So I'm gonna be using the first few flights to get a little bit tuning in. So I might be able to tell you what I think off the first flight, or it might take a few, but I don't know. But come fly with us. That is literally hands off right now. Hands off. It's very stable. All right. We are at 1500 right now. Very stable. For $759 comes with RotorTech 700 Ultimate Blades, mane and tail. You can't go wrong. Now I'm going to bump it up to, I think, 1700.
Me too.
Okay. Okay. Still feels stable. Very solid. This is all stock settings. Have not fooled with the gain on the tail or the head at all. Oh, this thing feels good. It feels locked in. All right, so I'm gonna bump it up to, I think, 1900. Yes, we're at 1900 right now. All right, gotta turn that gain down. Speed. This thing is rock. Feels good. Now, what I'm probably going to do is bump up some of the settings to make it a little bit more agile, but just for stock setup from the manual, stock setup in the V-bar right now, it is rock solid. I'm going to do a punch out real quick. You don't have to catch it. Yep. No joke. Yep. I'm gonna get some more flights in on this helicopter, but I will tell you this. For the price point of $759 with main, with tail blades, and really good tail blades and main blades, this is a winner. It's a rock star. All right, thank you. Appreciate you looking at the build content, the flight content, and anything else we produce here at Heli Direct. Appreciate you. Sean K, I'm out.